What up, people? Coach V, New Breed Boxing. When does a fighter reach his prime? Great question. Someone DM'd me this morning. So this has been a hot topic lately. I've been hearing a lot of people debating on when a fighter reaches his prime. And there's a couple of different factors, right? So you have your mental prime, which they say you start to decline gradually after the age of 45. That's when you supposedly start to decline little by little, mentally. Physically, they say that once you reach the age 30, every year after that, you start to lose approximately 1% of your testosterone. Now, these are gradual declines. So it's not like once you reach 31 physically and 46 mentally that you're going to hit the wall and turn into shit. That's not the case. What they mean is, depending on your lifestyle, of course, you're going to start to see a gradual decline. And that's still a case-by-case situation. Everybody's different. Again, some people faster than others. Some people slower than others. It all depends on how you're maintaining yourself personally in your day-to-day life. How you eat, how you sleep, what supplements you take, all kinds of stuff like that. How stressful your life is. All these factors are going to play a major role in how quickly or how slowly you decline. But everyone inevitably will decline. So Mayweather and Canelo, first example. Mayweather was about 36, Canelo was about 23. Mayweather says he was old, Canelo said he was too inexperienced. Being that Mayweather was probably, in my opinion, only about this far removed from his physical prime and was at the pinnacle, I think, of his mental game at that point in his career, I think he was the most formidable he ever was in his career. Aside from the fact that his hand injuries were probably at their worst at that point also. So I think he probably would have done a lot more damage if that wasn't the case. So I think he was really in his prime at that point. He says Canelo was in his prime. Maybe testosterone levels on the Canelo side were higher, but that was just enough for him to, bypass his mental faculties and run into all kinds of shit, which is what happened in the fight. I think Canelo now is more in his prime, to be honest with you. I think he's a lot more mature. And you have to experience certain things over a certain amount of time to basically achieve your optimal mental performance levels. Another good example is Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis. In my opinion, well, they're like 1 year apart though, so they're a good example because I think Lennox Lewis was in his prime when he beat Mike Tyson. I think that's when he was at his A game. His confidence was up. He was mentally and physically at his prime. And Mike Tyson, I think his prime was more in his 20s, as Canelo would have been. I think Mike Tyson at 22, 23 years old was way more dangerous than Mike Tyson when he fought Lennox Lewis. I think at that point, he was still, he had the momentum. He had been completely indulged in the sport of boxing and training and having the right mentors and having access to the right information. And he was just, he was just around the right people, and he just had the perfect, trifecta of the team, the knowledge, and the connections. And he was just dedicated to the sport. So, in my opinion, if they would have fought 10 years previous, 15 years previous, I think it would have been a completely different fight. That's just my opinion. So, I think everyone matures at different levels, but it's a case-by-case thing. So, there is no single age, but if I had to put my finger on it, I would say around your mid-30s, provided you consistently continue to be a student of the game and progress mentally, upgrade your sparring partners and training partners as you move up the ladder. Because if you plateau at any point, physically or mentally, in your training, that's equivalent to beginning your decline. Because then, as soon as you stop growing, you become like a ripe fruit and you're about to fall off the tree, and that's it. Game over. Someone's going to pass you and expose your weaknesses. So in my opinion, I just feel that everyone's prime is different. I'm going to do another video and go more into the science side of this. And I'm not no scientist, but just in boxing anyway. But I personally feel that everyone reaches their prime at a different age. But if I had to put a window of time, I'd say mid-20s to mid-30s, depending on how often you're training and your physical situation. Everybody has just a different genetic makeup. So some people go to get a beard when they're freaking 12 years old. You know what I mean? So just everybody, that's the variable. But again, you have to have a certain amount of experience around a certain level of training in order to reach your prime mentally. So again, everyone's different, but I'd say between 25 and 35, that's the key window. But the sooner you start training, the better. Preserve your body, take good care of yourself, and you'll last a lot longer than you would ever expect. And that's pretty much the key to longevity. So reaching your prime, that's one thing. Maintaining it and making sure that you don't decline rapidly, that's a whole nother thing. And we're gonna go into how to preserve yourself in another video. But anyway, I hope you found this informative. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Go check out my Instagram at Coach_. Till the next time we out here. Out.